What's up, everyone? Welcome to another Thursday episode of Fix My List. We're back.
We're here to fix that list.
We are indeed. This is our weekly 10 a.m. show.
That's
you
right.
Excited, Jack? You ready?
I am. I've come to really like this show. Mm-hmm. And by come to, I mean I liked it briefly from the beginning. But
oh yeah, well, I've come to like the show because I wasn't on it, but now I am.
Now you are.
Now I am. All right. So let's actually, before we dive right in.
Before we dive right in.
Mm-hmm. Let's give a quick little pitch, and that is for Vox Link. Vox Link is a new app that is in development. It's something that you can find on Patreon right now, and Vox Link is basically a social network app for gamers by gamers. You can find it on Patreon right now, and what Vox Link is basically it's a way to find local gamers or gamers in a new area to meet up and play games with. So, for example, you can make a profile on Vox Link. Not only will it give you, especially curated like YouTube videos, recommendations, channels, battle reports, and even some sweet deals with some, miniature accessory companies. Also, it gives you the ability to find other gamers near you. So, if, for example, I was looking to play a game, Warhammer, but maybe I was visiting a new city, I was visiting my parents, I wasn't, or I was new in the area, just wanted to meet some new gamers. Yeah. I can go ahead and put in a search. It's like, I want to find Warhammer 40,000 players who want competitive games at 2,000 points, and then I could set like a radius on it. And I could find other gamers in the area, and then, I can make some new friends, meet some new people, and play some Warhammer.
Absolutely. They've got a lot of content. They've got featured content creators on there. They have a leaderboard if you're into that kind of thing.
That's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
I hear you like leaderboards.
Leaderboard? Yeah, so it's a very interesting new concept, not something we've had in this hobby space before. And if you're looking to get some pickup games, that's the way to do it.
Absolutely. I've had a chance to download the app and play around on it. It honestly it looks really useful, so I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see it out in the wild because it should be launching soon. So make sure you head over to their Patreon and support them because I think this is going to be a really good tool for growing the community.
Absolutely. We've also got two new things. First off, we've got your Monday mornings. Learning how to paint from a pro painter.
That is very true. We are bringing back the Hangout and Hobbies. So if you enjoy watching us on Thursday at 10 a.m., hi, good morning. Second, make sure you check out that we're now doing content on Mondays as well. We used to do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for our YouTube content. We've added a new piece on Mondays, and that's where I'm hanging out with Jay from Mohawk Miniatures, and there he's teaching me new advanced painting techniques, and we're doing a nice Hangout and Hobby. So make sure that you check out our Monday shows as well.
Also, next week? End of next week? Is it 2 weeks?
I think 2 weeks.
2 weeks from now, we've got a Streamhouse RTT. Absolutely. It's there's some pride on the line. Mm-hmm. We're going to be broadcasting all of it. We've got me, myself, John, Richard, Siegs, Mark, Quinton, Adam Camilleri, and Kazar Husadar.
Yeah. Absolutely. We've got 8 Art of War players who are playing a double elimination RTT. And about 2 weeks from today is when it starts, so we're really coming up on it. Stay tuned. I think we already have some preview videos up on the channel. We've already got one, but there's going to be a lot more coming up soon. And in the War Room, in fact, you can already see Richard's preview for his list. And we'll be going through all of our lists in the next 2 weeks, getting ready for the Streamhouse RTT. It's going to be a really big, fun streaming event.
Imagine next week we do Fix My List, but only for the stream list.
The Streamhouse RTT list?
That would be pretty funny.
It would be pretty funny. And as a matter of fact, we're going to have Joe, for real this time, from War Games Live, who's going to be here streaming the event. So we'll be on we'll have the whole War Games Live setup for the Streamhouse RTT as well.
Absolutely. And if you want to find any of that War Room content, it would be you can get it in the War Room or in our Discord. If you want access to any of that, you can go to, thewarroom.vhx.tv.
I think just the Art of War 40K.
The Art of War 40K. You'll be able to find your way there. There is a 3-day free trial of the War Room. And if you don't like it, you can just cancel it. And if you do like it, stick around.
When you do like it.
When you do like it.
There you go.
All right.
That was a lot of speeches.
That was quite a bit before we can fix the lists, but now the lists must be fixed.
Absolutely.
All right, so we've got AUI. That's either AUI.
I think it's a user interface.
Alternate user interface or something. Yeah. Let me look up.
Abominable user interface. That's what it is.
Awful user interface.
No, abominable.
Let's look it up. All right. So first off, This is a Blackheart list with a test of skills precise killers patrol on the side. We've got Triple Archon, a Court of Archons, as John...
I thought it was funny.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Court of Archons, we've got 3 Archons. All of them have a blaster. One of them has Jin Blade with Splinter Genius, that's the fight twice once a game, and Ancient Evil, that's the fight last. We've got an Archon with Blaster, Venom Blade, and Animus Vitae, which is the grenade that makes people, makes your army count as one more.
And the third guy raises the banner?
The third guy sure does, doesn't he? Because he is trash.
And that third Archon is just hanging out. But he brought his friends.
He brought his friends, and his friends are pretty cool.
Isn't that what matters most?
So we've got 3 gigantic Courts of the Archon, 998. We've got 4 Slith, 4 Urgul, and a Lamian. And then in the 8-man, we've got 3 Urguls instead. We've got 5 Racks. We've got 15 Incubi and 5-man units. We've got 5 Mandrakes, 3 Raiders with Dark Lances. Mm-hmm. We've got Succubus with Show Stealer, Triptych Whip, Precision Blows. We've got Drazar with Hatred Eternal as the Warlord. We've got 10 Blood Brides with Chardonnette and Razor Flails, 2 units of 5 Witches, 5 Hellions, and 3 Reavers. It's possible that the Blaster Archon is legended. I believe the Blast Pistol
is probably what he meant.
Well, they used to be able to take Blaster, so it still shows up in like Battlescribe that you can take Blaster, funny. I believe.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the first place thing I'd fix.
Yep.
Is I would make it legal.
Yep. Make them blast pistols, not blasters.
Yes.
I think it's the same points cost, so... You know,
yeah, I think they're both free.
Alas, you can definitely only take the blast pistol now. Yeah. Sad. Wow. So, big, thick Courts of the Archon.
Yeah, I mean, that's clearly what the army's being based around, right? Mm-hmm. So we've got Awie's comments. The Archon throws the grenade turn 2 to give the Courts their 5-up invul and 5-up feel no pain, and the Witches +1 to hit. Also due to Blackheart, the Snakes and Ghouls don't run away. Punchiness comes in the form of Blood Brides, 3 punchy characters, and Incubi. The 3 boats are good against mortars, alpha strikes, and enable shenanigans. Witch Cult fast attack is for behind enemy lines and annoyance. This list takes the center with enough redundancy, just send in the next court for 3 rounds, and has enough of the usual Drukhari trickery. Okay.
So the Court of the Archon obviously is very appealing because, I mean, for anyone who doesn't know, they don't actually die, like, ever. And it's 8 or 9 3-wound models that have a 5-up invuln. And I think both the Urgul and the Slith all have a 5-up feel no pain. And I guess they don't have the 5-up invuln until they get power from pain up.
Yeah, which I get why you have the Animus Vitae there.
Right, Blackheart counts as 1 turn higher.
Blackheart counts as 1 turn higher.
Blackheart gets it on turn 3.
Yes.
But then if they throw the Animus Vitae, they'll have it on turn 2. But only for their turn 2, because the grenade only lasts for their turn. It's not for the battle round.
Oh, is that true?
That is the case. Because that is actually why I, back in the day when I took Drukhari to one tournament.
Slime.
That's why I didn't include it. Hey, you did too.
Sure. You took it when it was the best army in the game by a country mile. I took it when it was not. Close.
Well, yeah, that's why I won. So, I really like the Courts just because of how durable they are. Again, just 3 wounds with an invul and a feel no pain. You can easily lightning fast reaction them. I think that damage output has risen a little bit since they were an unkillable mass.
Yeah, but now they're 3 unkillable masses.
3 is a number. They're still cheap. Like 136 points. Like honestly, you could just tell me that unit was 206 because we're folding the Archon in, and like that's still pretty decent.
People do be forgetting.
Yeah.
People be forgetting that that these things were thick. Mm-hmm. They're just really annoying to get through. 3 wounds with an invuln and a 5-up feel no pain means this list has a brutal back half of the game.
Yeah.
Like just trying to slog through the Courts if they can conserve them until turn. Right, if they're going second, they pop them out on turn 2. By the time it ticks over to their opponent's turn, it's battle round 3. They have the 5-up invuln. It looks like 4 to Blackheart, so they get the 5-up invuln. And all of a sudden, getting through Courts of the Archon is misery. And if there's 27 of them, mm-hmm. I honestly don't know what army right now gets through that at any kind of speed.
I can think of some. You would need a lot of Thunderhammers.
Yeah. No, I still don't even know because the interrupt is ruinous.
Is it?
Yeah, this peels up a lot of Marines if they
does
interrupt
it? What
on
if the the same guys who have the Thunderhammer also have the Storm Shield?
I think then you're still fine. It's a lot of AP 1 and 2, like to the point where I think the unit just disintegrates.
Yeah, I tried hitting them with AP 1 and 2. I was talking about Deathwing, to be clear.
Oh, Deathwing? Yeah, this list can't be Deathwing.
Yeah.
In a million years. But like, what's our standard here? Is our standard...
Our standard is to play around the Deathwing.
Yeah, which I think that they can do. I mean, sorry, they can't kill Deathwing in a million years.
Yeah.
They can beat it by just swarming backfield objectives and things like that.
I guess my thought right now with this is that I like the idea of the courts kind of tying up parts of the board. I want to have a little bit more stuff to run around while the courts are tying up. That's kind of like my take on it. Is that like, yeah, the courts can tie up one part of the board, and the ideal scenario in my mind, because like you're not trying to use the courts as move block while your Dark Eldar army sits behind a wall, right? This isn't Craft Worlds.
Right.
So I guess my thought is that I want just a couple more things that are out there doing stuff. What I really want is just like a couple of Venoms while the courts are tying things up. So that I have small transports full of 5 Incubi that can just go tuck into a small spot, because Raiders are a little bit hard to hide.
Raiders are difficult. It depends on your terrain format, too.
That is true.
If this is GW terrain...
Raiders don't hide.
Raiders can't hide anywhere.
Yeah.
So if you are playing GW terrain, the Raiders need to leave. If you're playing on WTC terrain, it's still kind of hard to hide Raiders, honestly. It's like player place where I think Raiders are good.
Yeah. So my immediate take on this is that I want one less court, which I hate to say out loud because the courts are awesome. But I think the third Archon isn't bringing anything to make the court worth it.
Well, what if we tried, right?
Yeah.
What if we tried to make the Archons good? Because, like, I do think the concept here is, what if I had max courts of the Archon? Mm-hmm. Right?
I guess could we try to trim the rest of the list around this so that, because like really I just want to have more MSU stuff running around the courts, who are then like missling the opponent's primary, because Dark Eldar are a good secondary army, but they're not like a great secondary army.
Yeah, their secondaries are like
need to win.
Fine.
Yeah, their secondaries are fine, but they like to win by kind of harassing the opponent's primary, while kind of making it difficult to reach their own.
Yeah. So everything has 3 wounds here. The Lamian has no feel, no pain. Everything else does.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then the Lamian gives them a much better leadership.
Yes, the Lamian gives them leadership 8 as
And I
opposed
think
to leadership 6.
Is Blackheart +1 leadership?
Yeah, so leadership 9.
Yeah, leadership 9 is the point where the court does not run every time you kill an Urgle.
Yeah. We can look at Medusae. I don't think they're bad. They're also leadership 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're just more expensive than the Lamian, but they do provide an eyeball.
Yeah, their eyeballs are pretty good. Pistol D6, 12-inch range, strength 4, AP 2, damage 1.
That was the problem. It's pistol, so you can't advance and shoot it.
Oh yeah, because you're advancing and charging these things all the time.
All the time.
All the time. Yeah, no, you're not gonna do that.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess
what
I want.
Can you get reroll wounds in this anyway, or is that
Reroll wounds?
Yeah.
Not really. The Archon can give reroll 1s to hit. Does Blackheart have a relic that's a reroll 1s to wound aura? Am I making that up? I know they used to. I think it's like it's the scrolls or something.
The skull of
I think it's a scroll. It's like, or maybe it's a creed. Basically, he's like reading off the words of Vect.
Unfortunately,
and everyone is so inspired that they reroll their 1s to wound.
The thing most people use to get their rules on the internet is not working right now.
I'll look in. I've got the codex saved. Yeah, so I guess what I want then, if we're keeping the 3 courts, I kind of want the Raiders gone, and I want a bunch of Venoms in their place.
Yeah, I wonder if they're putting the court in the Raider.
I assume so, but I feel like the Raiders are just way too easy to shoot at. And I hate a Court of the Archon member dying because I rolled a 1.
Yeah, that does suck. That sucks a lot.
Like, there's 9 guys in and an Archon. They kill the Raider. You roll 2 1s getting out. Okay, I guess I have to pull 2 Urgles.
Yeah, that's
12 attacks out of it.
That's no fun. All right. So let's see how cool we can make some Archons and Courts of the Archon, because that is basically the concept here. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of it is Incubi and characters holding it up.
Yeah. So
first things first, I think Drazar loses his Warlord trait here, and it's very sad.
Gasp. Anthony has heard this.
Anthony can kiss me on the behind.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Wow, okay. A little spicy there.
So here's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. Drazar is really killy. And his warlord trait takes him from really killy to pretty darn killy. But, like, he still kills pretty much whatever you throw him into pretty well. And I would much rather have an Archon with Jin Blade Hatred Eternal and then a Drazar without a warlord trait than an Archon without that kind of does nothing without that warlord trait. And then a Drazar who super kills, you know? Okay. I would rather, because then you could have an Archon with Hatred Eternal Jin Blade, you can have Archon with Animus Vitae Fights Last, and then you could have a Succubus, and then you can have Drazar. And that's a really good combo.
Don't forget the third Archon.
Yeah, I was kind of...
Sir Banners.
Yeah, Sir Banners. Sir, you can't take my backfield because I have a 2-up, and I'm just going to pass 17 of those in a row. I know how this works.
That is actually how that works, yeah.
Yeah. So, you basically can't make the third one good because you don't have warlord traits or relics. I mean, what you probably do is you split up Animus Vitae and Fights Last, so that you're not priced into it. But yeah, you probably take Animus Vitae on one, Fights Last on the other, and then you take one that has Jin Blade Hatred Eternal, and then you have a Succubus with Triptych Whip. I don't think Precision Blows and Triptych Whip work too well together.
Precision Blows is the 6 to hit is 2 mortals, or mortals equal to damage?
Correct.
Okay.
What I think I want to do there is take Triptych Whip and then Quicksilver Fighter. If that is not from Rid of the Living Muse.
Yeah. Rid of the Living Muse is, in fact, a 6-inch Lieutenant Aura for Blackheart Core. And if it the bear is a Real Space Raider, then it also affects Blade for Hires. So, but we'd have to make this a Real Space Raid attachment for that to work, which would involve a Homunculus, which is not really going to fit.
No.
Which is fine.
Can you look up to see what Succubus warlord traits are still available with the death of Cult of Strife?
Oh, yeah, just like the generic Succubus warlord traits? Sure.
Because Test of Skill means that you're getting +1 to wound, which really helps against vehicles, which really helps out against the things that Triptych Whip does not do well into. I like Blood Brides, but they're very expensive.
Yeah, and these are Test of Skill Precise Killers, which I think I want to keep that. Test of Skill Precise Killers are really good.
Yeah, Test of Skill Precise Killers is very nice. Blood Brides are great. I kind of want more Hellions, honestly. Like, I don't really want these Reavers. I kind of want Hellions in here.
I can get
because I think Hellions are quite good. So that's basically the direction I want to take it in. We do have an excess Archon, but we need the Archon for the Court of the Archon, which is, I mean, you get a powerful unit out of it, right? You get a Court of the Archon, but you do have a Archon just burning a hole in your pocket, and you can't use them for anything. All right, let's...
So you could give that Succubus +2 attacks instead.
Yeah, that's definitely where I want to go with that.
Quicksilver Fighter?
Quicksilver Fighter.
So let's just look at our CP real quick before we do this.
That would put us to 0.
Okay, because we're currently at 0, right? We've got 2 CP being spent on the Succubus, 1 being spent on Drazar, which will now be spent on Archon, so that's 3. And then, Jin Blade is 4, Animus Vitae is 5, Ancient Evil 6. Okay.
So and just move those around.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That way you have 3 combat characters that hit really hard. You have a Fight Last character, and you have Guy throwing around Animus Vitae.
Sir?
Yeah. It seems good. So the things we want to cut, I think the Reavers want to become Hellions, which is going to put us 25 over. Then I think these Raiders definitely want to not be in the list.
I unfortunately agree with that.
Yeah. I want Venoms just to help Incubi run to random places on the board. You can stash a character plus Incubi, and it's a very scary little package.
Yeah. How much cheaper is a Venom?
They're 75.
Okay, so that's essentially minus 90 if we replaced 3 Raiders with 3 Venoms.
Yeah. So that would leave us with 65 points left.
Yep.
That could easily be just another Rack unit or a Warrior unit or something, and then turn one of the... Get like Court of the Archon up to 9. I think that's probably where I would go.
Yeah, we could do it that way for sure. Is there a way to get one more Venom in the list, like to 4? Or actually, for the Blood Brides, do we want 1 Raider?
Yeah, I kind of do want 1 Raider at that point.
So let's try to add one Raider. And
Yep. So we're at 2,000. I want to turn the Reavers into Hellions because they hit really hard.
Yep, that's fine by me.
And they're really good right now. Then we're going to subtract 60 for the 2 Raiders. Then we're going to add in that Court of the Archon member. So now all 3 of them are 9-mans. And we are 19 points shy of 2,000.
I think I'd rather go 9-8-8 on the courts and then use those points to get another unit in, like another rack squad.
You don't get that many points. You get 16 per guy.
Yeah. So if we cut 32 points, we could get a rack squad.
You could get a rack squad, yeah.
Yeah.
You can. I just want 9-9-9 courts the Archon.
That's fair.
Pretty bad.
I guess I just with Drukhari, I'm always just trying to get one more unit in.
That's true. You could cut the mandrakes and turn them into 2 squads of racks at that point.
You could, or you could, frankly, you could turn the mandrakes into another venom.
Yeah.
Then we'd have, because right now we only have 2 venoms.
Yes.
And we have 3 incubi squads.
Yeah, some of them are hoofing it.
3 venoms with incubi, 1 raider with the blood brides, and then the court is hoofing it.
Yeah. So if we were to start that from the beginning, we're at 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Take the Reavers up to Hellions.
Cool, that's plus 25.
Yep. Turn 2 Raiders into Venoms.
Yep. Turn the Mandrakes into a Venom that doesn't change the
just
points.
Clean point swap.
Cut 1 member of 1 quarter of the Archon.
Oh, you're killing me here, John. You can, I guess.
You don't have to.
You're killing me here, John. That does get you a rack squad.
Does get you a rack squad. I feel like I'd rather have a rack squad than 2 members of the Court of the Archon. Like, that's just, I guess, where I'm at.
Fine. I don't know. There's something... I looked at this list and I'm like, well, first thing I want to fix, I want it to be full squads.
Well, full squads, I think, is... You could go up to, like, 16.
You can, but you will not. Yeah. I meant full squad of, like, the good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just like one unit has 3 Urgles. I see people cutting down to, like, 5-man Court of the Archons. Like, what are you doing?
No, I do like them big. I don't know, I think 8's just plenty big is the thing. Because the Lamian feels like it is... I mean, the Lamian's fine, but because I guess we're cutting an Urgle here so we keep the leadership.
I think we can honestly cut the Lamian.
Yeah. I don't think they all need... Because what turn do you auto-pass morale in Drukhari? Is it turn 4 or 5?
It's turn 5.
Okay, so Blackheart doesn't effectively do it until turn 4.
Yeah. But they are lead 7.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that you can bleed out the Lamian unit first, because then that's the one that takes the hits, and then that one has good leadership.
I mean, listen, I'm totally down to just have 8-8, like 4 Slith, 4 Urgle. And no Lamian. And then one unit has the Lamian, and that's the one that leads the way. Totally down for that.
Yeah, which I think it's the same points.
Yeah.
I think an Urgle and a Lamian's the same points.
Then that gets us 5 racks. And if you always fail leadership, if you're like Siegs and you can't not roll leadership, then take the Lamian.
Yep.
So,
and if we add 45 points, we would just have 6 left, which is a 5-point upgrade somewhere.
Yeah, it's like the Raider has the -2 leadership or something, so you can run in, incubi people to death.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah. Okay, so that I think is the changes I would make.
Yeah.
Yep. So going over it again, this is actually very, very close to where they wrote it. Mm-hmm. We've got an Archon with Hatred Eternal and Ginblade and Splintered Genius and a Blast Pistol. Mm-hmm. We've got an Archon with a Blast Pistol and Ancient Evil, and I believe the Huskblade is now free. So you probably just want to take that.
Yeah.
Then we've got an Archon with Blast Pistol, Huskblade, and Animus Vitae. We've got a 9-man Court of the Archon, 2 8-mans. Personally, I'd go 4 Slith, 4 Urgruls each. Mm-hmm. We got 2 units of 5 racks. We got 3 units of 5 incubi. We've got a Raider with a Dark Lance and a Grizzly Trophies. Thank you. We've got 3 Venoms. We've got a Succubus with Show Stealer, Triptych Whip, and Quicksilver Fighter. And personally, I'd probably give her Adrenalite for that extra attack. We've got Drazar, not the Warlord, no Warlord trait. We've got 10 Blood Brides as pictured. We've got 2 units of 5 Witches. We've got 2 units of 5 Hellions. Again, I'd probably give them Adrenalite. That list hits pretty hard, actually.
Yeah, it's still a lot of damage and plenty of characters.
Yep. There is also the possibility that you swarm a Deathwing player and just make them fight last in like 3 places and then hit them with your whole army. And maybe they fail saves. Maybe they do. I don't know. It could happen.
I think you could tie them up in a couple places and just hit one squad with everything at once.
Yeah, if you pile into a unit with Court of the Archon, so you don't charge it, you charge something else and pile into it, they don't actually hit that hard.
Awkwardly, Ezekiel is an Aura of +1 attack that doesn't stack with Shock Assault. So
no!
Basically always get Shock Assault.
Why?
Still, I think that with some good combat tricks, some of the stuff we talked about in 10-minute tip, where you just like go like base them with a venom and have one Archon court member like just tag the very edge of the unit. You could still tie up 2 units credibly for a while, and then just go hammer a 3rd unit with all the incubi, all the characters, another court, and again have the court base everyone so they don't get to move much and just characters picking at the edges. You could probably drop or get close to dropping a squad like that.
It would require a lot of war room trickery. Like no joke, if you wanted to beat Deathwing, you would have to play really, really well with this, but I think you have the ability to do that.
The Blood Brides being AP4 on a 5 to wound means that it is actually just bucket of saves.
Yep. Here, take a bunch of 4-ups. And then you call them an idiot and they fail their 4-ups, hopefully.
Excellent.
Yeah. I really wish there was that reroll wounds thing from
Yeah, that doesn't exist, Chief.
Cult of Strife, thank you. Cult of Strife would actually be really good into Deathwing Terminators.
Alas.
Sad. But I think that list is super cool. I love Max Courts of the Archon. They're thick, and the list also is just fast and hits really hard.
Yeah, I dig it.
So I actually think this list is awesome. Right. Let's move on.
Let's hit a super chat real quick.
That's true.
Matthew
Before
Bailey.
we move on, no, you don't get to see that list. You don't get to see it. Matthew Bailey, $2 super chat. What do you recommend for T-Suns for WTC format?
Ooh. So WTC format, I think the biggest challenge here is that you very likely are going to have other like Chaos armies on their own, which means you may not have access to them as an ally. Because I think that one of the best things T-Suns can do right now is take a demonic ally, which is kind of similar to what Nick has been doing.
Well, I don't know if this is necessarily teams format. Just
fair.
Like the
for
WTC terrain
format. Oh, for WTC terrain format and scoring. I like Nick's ideas recently where he's been taking a couple of small 3-man units of Zengor Enlightened so that he unlocks Engage on all fronts as more of a game plan. If you're just doing WTC format, not a literal teams event, I do think taking some demon allies just to get in like a nice counterpunch or some more close range damage output, I think is really good. Because, the fundamental problem with T-Suns, that can be solved, but the problem mainly is that it's an army that wants to kill you from 18 inches away but doesn't want you to charge them.
Yeah. I also think that what you want to do is you want to lean into teleporting shooting.
Fully agreed on that, yeah.
So the Terminator bricks, like double Terminator brick is legitimately very good on WTC because you can teleport to an off angle and see most of your opponent's army and just shoot them.
Yep.
So that's where I would probably start is like double Terminator brick. Honestly, the list would look very similar to what was being played like at LVO.
Yeah.
Weirdly
Just like,
enough.
hey, Flamers are still pretty good.
Fast shooting. Just move fast, shoot fast.
Yeah. You think you would try to trim some things down to get 2 Terminator bricks instead of 1?
I would.
Would you then go for maybe like smaller ones like 8s, or would you stick at the 10s?
I like the 10s.
Like the 10s? Okay.
Yeah, I think I'd try and fit in 20 Terminators, and then honestly, things like Burning Chariots are pretty good. Burning Chariots, honestly, I might skip out on Flamers and just go Burning Chariots and Exalted Flamers.
That's fair.
Because they're very good skirmishing pieces. They don't need the +1 to hit because they auto hit with their Flamers.
Yeah, and it's a patrol, so you get 1 horror unit, then you and you don't really have to take many Rubrikai anymore.
Yeah.
So you could get 1 horror unit, and then two chariots, and then 2 exalted flamers, and then an HQ caster of some kind.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be really good. It's just fast shooting.
Yep, and fast mortals to go along with it.
Yep, and I would take probably the Fate Skimmer. But that might be too many points. You gotta fiddle with it. But I think off the top of my head, it sounds like it fits.
Definitely close to. It might have to be a blue horror and a cheap herald to make it all work. But we'd have to do it up.
It might.
All right. Well, we got another list to fix.
And we do have, spoiler alert,
Some T-Suns coming
we
up?
have some T-Suns coming up.
Ooh.
All right, we've got Dark Albar with Ravenguard, Master Artisans, Whirlwind of Rage.
Look, that's my favorite combo. Y'all
All
want
right.
to read the list?
Yes, please.
All right, so we've got a Primaris Chaplain on bike who has Litany of Faith, the Canticle of Hate. He's a Master of Sanctity. He's a Warlord with Rights of War, and Swift and Deadly. And I believe that Swift and Deadly, I don't know if you can confirm this, is the Advance in Charge aura Warlord.
It
right?
is.
Marvelous.
It is.
Then he has a Primaris Chapter Master, just a regular Chapter Master on foot. Look at him go. Mastercrafted Power Sword. He has the Relic Shield and a Master of Ambush. Master of Ambush, I believe, lets both the Warlord and one other unit redeploy with Infiltration right before the game starts.
Yep, after you know who's going first, you just pick them up and you put them in the center of the board.
Awesome. 10 Infiltrators with Helix Gauntlets. Love that. 15 Vanguard Veterans. They all have Lightning Claws and Plasma Pistols in their jump packs. 1 unit of 3 Outriders. 2 solo attack bikes. 3/3/3 eliminators, 1 3-mana eradicator, a second 3-mana eradicator, and then a single Storm Talon with 2 las cannons.
Yep.
Finally, 2 Hunters of Beasts Helverins in the super heavy slot. And is that 2015?
It sure is.
Fair enough.
I did the math twice.
All right.
The Primaris Chapter Master did not have a points cost associated with it in the list, so it might just be regular captain. But he said Chapter Master, so
Fair enough.
I mean, we're here to fix lists, and this is one way for a list to get fixed.
Okay.
Is to be made legal. All right. My take on a Ravenguard's list plan is to get 3 bombs early, as well as a kill with one of the Eradicator squads and castle in Devastator Doctrine until killing characters is needed. Meta around here is lots of T7, T8 stuff, hence the Meltas. Have most Space Marine things, so anything you recommend is cool. Thank you in advance.
All right. So a couple of quick things that I immediately look at and want to fix, besides the obvious 15 at the end of the points total.
Yes.
Because that's the first one.
That's pretty easy, yeah.
So the Storm Talon confuses me.
They are very overcosted right now.
It's just that the Storm Talon is 10 more points than a Helverin, and the Helverins are already right there.
Yes.
We could just add 1.
Yes.
This is what I want to do.
I know. I'm looking at this being like, do you really want 2 Helverins and a Storm Talon, or do you want 3 Helverins? I think you want 3 Helverins.
The second thing is Master of Ambush on the Primaris Chapter Master. I cannot for the life of me figure out who that's going on.
Yeah, right?
It's got to be a 5-man Vanvet or a 3-man Eradicator, and you just choose game to game. But I'm just looking at this and thinking, like, couldn't I just take the 3 Eradicators twice and make it a 6-man Eradicator? And if I don't want to do this trick, I just combat squad and call it a day. But if I do want to do this trick, I put 6 Eradicators in the fun shooty spot.
Yeah, this sounds like those 3 Eradicators, just 3 and 3, just turn into a 6, because you already have a Chapter Master, which gives them full rerolls, and at that point, no Melta rifles, please. We're going heavy Melta rifles and multi-Meltas.
Yeah, the points do add up there.
Yeah, no, 1 unit has Melta rifles.
Yeah, I like the 9 Eliminators. Even though their last fuels still don't benefit too much from being Ravenguard, they're still pretty dope.
I mean, they benefit against like big characters that are making an appearance nowadays.
That is true. Every time you see a Greater Demon or Knight or Killrig, you just get to be like, oh, you done goofed up.
You silly Billy, and then you shoot them with +1 to hit, +1 to wound.
Yeah.
And then they die. It's real rough. So, I mean, I generally like how this list is laid out. I mean, other than the 15 points over. But, I mean, that could be a transcription error, but I checked it twice.
Yeah, that's okay. We can recheck the points as we're fixing it anyway. I like the Chaplain. Aura of Advance and Charge is dope. Canticle of Hate is the...
That's the +2 charge,
perfect.
+3
Litany of
pounds.
Faith is 5 against mortals.
Correct.
I'm a big fan of that. Okay. So, the Outriders, not super fan of.
Yeah, Outrider's not great. I think attack bikes don't particularly belong in this list.
They're not terrible just because they have Master Artisans. It's just a cheap thing to zip. I think I'd rather they be a land speeder from being honest.
I was about to say.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Then we're in agreement.
Yeah. I think land speeder, the 70.1, the Tornado.
Yeah, that thing's lit.
With the assault cannon and multi-melta. Whoo! Those things are efficient. Mm-hmm. Efficient. Love those things, especially with Master Artisans letting you reroll a hit roll.
If this list is going to Tactical Doctrine, is there any argument for taking Invader ATVs over Tornadoes?
Why?
Because they're the same points.
70.
And once you remove the assault cannon's no longer in Devastator Doctrine. Now the auto boat rifles are in Tactical Doctrine instead of Devastator Doctrine. Sorry. So you're still putting out 6 AP1 shots when you're in from turn 2 on, but then it's just 2 wounds thicker.
Yeah, no, I can see that for sure.
It doesn't fly though, so pros and cons. Because fly's pretty nice.
Do we want to try and build this into a Dev Doctrine list? It already isn't because of the Helverins.
No, it gets doctrines. They're No.
I mean, sorry. It does get Devastator Doctrine, but what it doesn't have is the mass heavy weapons to the point where I would want to be taking Codex Warfare in Devastator Doctrine to just cheese that secondary out, because we're already taking a bunch of heavy hitters that don't benefit from it. Mm-hmm. So I don't think we're getting to that stacking point where that becomes nuts. So at that point, yeah, I honestly do think the Invader ATVs are where it's at.
It could be pretty cute there.
Yeah.
Because I think we're every Space Marine army needs a couple small, cheap, fast units that can go do a mission roll and maybe shoot a little bit while they're on the way. Just like a free multi-melt on a 50 to 70 point moving platform. It's pretty nice.
It is. I mean, the attack bike is that. Like, it's 20 points cheaper for half the wounds, which at that, and not Primaris. Primaris is nice. 1 CP, like, oh, you didn't kill this. Whoops.
Yeah.
So I would honestly, yeah. At that point, I would change the entire fast attack to just 3 invaders.
Other things to look at here. So we said that we want 1 unit to get the sweet Master of Ambush. Could I perhaps interest anyone in an aggressor unit?
Aggressors are pretty sweet at that.
Because when aggressors get Chapter Master, they go in and they kill every single chaff unit in line of sight. And then they charge something. And they have a Whirlwind of Rage, full rerolls to hit from the Chapter Master.
And they'll have advance and charge because the Primaris Chaplain just advances 20 inches up and just gives them Swift and Deadly, and then they go in. Yeah, that's... I mean, they hit pretty hard.
They hit pretty hard, and that's not something anyone wants to take on turn 1. I think I want the one aggressor.
So we do need to make cuts at that point.
Definitely.
Because I think we don't need the Eliminators, as cool as they are, because I think we've got our shooting covered between the fast attacks, the 6 Eradicators, and 3 Helverins.
I was going to say that we could also cut a Storm Talon and not replace it with a Helverin.
We could just stick at 2 Helverins. We could.
Yeah, because like if we so let's start adding up points here. So the Outriders,
Can you just add it up from the beginning just to make sure I didn't mess up my math?
So 135 plus 115.
Yeah.
Plus 200 plus 390.
Yep.
Cool, we're at 840 so far, plus 205 for that fast attack slot.
Yep.
Plus 225 for those eliminators.
Yep. Plus 270.
Plus 270.
Plus 165.
Okay.
Plus 310.
That actually comes up to 2,015 points.
Weird.
So, all right, so let's cut the Storm Talon. I love to hate him.
Yeah, that thing is just... That thing was not surviving this.
Yeah, and then let's cut the Outriders and the multi-melt attack bikes.
Yep.
So let's replace the entire fast attack slot with 210 points of fast thing with a multi-melt of choice. Either 3 solo tornadoes or 3 solo invaders.
I will tell you which of those is going to be easier to acquire right now. It's going to be the invaders.
Yeah, because they're probably $3 on eBay.
Yeah, whereas the the land speeders are a bit tough to find.
Yeah. So currently we're at 1855. I really want a full brick of aggressors, just 1. And again, we combine the Eradicators, but it doesn't change the points. But a full brick of aggressors is 180, which puts us at 2,035. I think from that point, we just cut 1 Eliminator squad.
Yeah.
And that leaves us at 1960.
And that collapses our heavy support down to 3 slots, too, which is nice.
Yep.
So it makes it legal that we're taking an extra elite. So how many points do we have left at that point?
That's 1960. We have 40 points left.
Okay. Well, that is a Servitor squad pretty easily.
It could be a Servitor and an Inquisitorial Acolyte.
We can't, because we already have the Knights.
Yeah, they're in a different attachment. It's good.
You can only take 1 ally.
The Inquisitorial Agent goes in the detachment, and the Super Heavy Ox is outside the detachment.
You know, whenever I include Agents of the Imperium, I just should send the list to John and just say, is this legal? Make it legal. And then eventually John just tells me it's fine. And I just don't know how this stuff works.
That's fine. Neither do I or GW. So,
It's
cool.
fine. It's great.
So
do we want to do anything about the Van Vets with lightning claws and plasma pistols?
I really wanted to find... Because, honestly, I could just take this 40 points and get 8 Storm Shields. Because... My preferred loadout for Vanguard veterans, and I tried them without Storm Shields. My preferred loadout is for every 5 guys, 4 have a Storm Shield, all 5 have Lightning Claws, and if there's a Sergeant, there's an Honor Blade. Or a Relic Blade, pardon me.
Yeah, Relic
And then if
Blade,
it's a 10-man, there's just 1 extra Chainsword. And then I see if there's 5 points later.
And what's that, 150 on the nose?
That's 150 on the nose. So the 40 points could just be 2 of these units get 4 Storm Shields, and also we replace the Plasma Pistol
what
with an
size unit of aggressors have we
That was a 6-man.
A 6-man.
I like 6.
No, I was going to say if it were at a 5, what we could do is cut a squad of Eliminators, get it up to a 6-man, and then spend points on it.
I mean, we could cut a second squad of Eliminators, but I do like that this list ends up being fairly shooty.
No, I like that too. I kind of just want the 3rd Helverin in there, but I don't
Fair.
see a way to get it.
It would involve not having aggressors, and I really, because in my mind, the Vanguard veterans do not need to forward deploy to charge you. It's cool that they can charge deep, but that Vanguard veteran unit will charge on turn 2 if it's in the mood.
Yeah,
like you don't have trouble getting advanced and charge Vanguard veterans into combat. So if we're taking Ravenguard, we're taking it for their specific rules, such as Master of Ambush. And the real thing with Master of Ambush is you need to deliver something slow with it, which in my mind, having a choice of a 6-man Eradicator brick or a 6-man Aggressor brick, I will choose which one I use game to game depending on the opponent, and the other one will Combat Squad. That feels really good.
Honestly, what we could do is cut into the troops in order to get another Helverin.
The Infiltrators?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because the Helverin is 5 models OBSEC.
I like Infiltrators, Jack.
I know you do, but 40 points plus a squad of Infiltrators plus cutting some amount of points somewhere gets us a 3rd Helverin, and the 3rd Helverin is 5 models OBSEC. So, like, OBSEC objective control-wise, it's the same as the Infiltrators. We have Eliminators to hold people out at range, and we have a bunch of Outriders, or not Outriders,
Like
the bikes to hold to screen out as well. Like, I don't think we need 2 squads of Infiltrators in this list.
Oh, man.
John just has a love affair with
Infiltrators are just so good. I would rather cut the Eliminators, is the thing. Like, I'd rather cut both Eliminator squads we have.
Than one Infiltrator squad? That can't be right, John.
I really like Infiltrators.
I know you really like Infiltrators, but, like, that cannot be correct. That just can't be right. I'm sorry. 1 squad of Infiltrators is not better than 2 squads of Eliminators with last view souls. It's just the case. Like, I know you like Infiltrators, but come on.
Isn't it?
No, it's not. Not better.
Have you played a game yet against Chaos Demons with Infiltrators?
I played a game against T-Sons with Infiltrators. It felt awesome.
Yeah, like, I don't know, that the hope leaving their eyes when they're like, how many Infiltrator squads? And I just say 2, and they're like, oh, dang, that's the right number. I'm like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, I had 3. It was great.
That's even better. Okay, so jokes aside here, we could do that. So if we cut, here's the question: if we cut the 1 Infiltrator squad under protest,
I mean, I will say demons do cry to 1 unit Infiltrators is like, fine, I can deal with this. More than 1 unit Infiltrators, and they cannot deal with this anymore.
Okay, here's a compromise. What if we, can't believe I'm saying this, make that Primaris Chapter Master a Phobos Chapter Master, so that he's an Infiltrator?
Is he? He kind of is on the front lines because he's infiltrating up.
Yeah, but then he just runs back. If you go first, he just re-forward deploys anywhere he wants, sends the aggressors on their way with full rerolls, and then just yeets himself back behind a wall.
I could see it.
Just to have I just want a little more absolutely not on the deep striking thing.
I mean, I'll be honest, I can just kind of leave it where it is.
Okay.
And just be fine with that.
Wait, you can cut a full Infiltrator squad, but you won't cut a Power Sword on that Chapter Master? Because I'm willing to do this. Like, I'm willing to give this guy a Phobos Chapter Master, cut Infiltrator squad.
Okay, fair enough. How many points is a Phobos Chapter Master?
I think it's either the same or 5 less or 5 more. It is very close. But if we cut a
there is a decent argument that you should just switch him to Phobos either way, whether you leave it the same or not.
That's fair, yeah.
And you just go, no, you can't deep strike.
I mean, like, at that point, I kind of want to spend some of the Relic Warlord combos. I know you're not really going to get the Warlord trait. You could give him the Relic to make his gun indirect fire.
His gun is terrible as a Phobos guy.
It's damage 3 sniper.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
And is it Sniper Man?
Yeah, that's Sniper Man.
Oh, you can take, like, Ex Tenebris and stuff?
No, it's like Bane fire bolts. I don't know. It's some kind of bolt that you give, and it's like, oh, whenever you fire a bolt weapon, you can choose to only make 1 shot. It's 1 shot anyways. And if you do, it ignores line of sight and lookout, sir.
No, it's not. That's not it. You're thinking of
straight up.
There's one where it's like if it hits, it does 2 mortals.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't gonna take that one
and it also -1 leadership, -1 combat attrition.
Ex Tenebris is for a Phobos Lieutenant.
Oh, I see. Okay.
This is you give him a Warlord trait, which we probably won't here because we don't have a Warlord trait to give him. But there is a Warlord trait that gives him like +1 damage on his weapons, And then there's when you fire a bolt weapon, make it ignore lookout, sir, or make it ignore line of sight.
To be fair, actually, before we beef up the Helverins, they do need to do the Ravenguard secondary.
Infiltrators are very good at that.
Infiltrators are very good at that. I feel like I can leave the Infiltrators in.
Okay, fair enough. I will never argue against Infiltrators staying on the list.
I would want, honestly, I could consider dropping Infiltrators for Eliminators, but we don't have the slots anymore.
Yeah, so it's just two. Right now, it's 2 Eliminators, 1 Eradicator, and the Heavy Support, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
So then do we want to just take the 40 points and just tail 2 of the Vanguard veteran units to have some Storm Shields?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I really like Storm Shields.
Yeah, Storm Shield's real hot right now.
Real good.
It's so hot right now.
Hate plasma pistols. Love Storm Shields.
I mean, we could go 3 attack bikes instead.
And just save some points.
And we get 60 points back. With the 40, that's 100. We could kit out the Vanguard veterans and also have 40 points left.
And the 40 points left could then be a Servitor unit and a Inquisitorial to just fully...
Honestly, what I think we do is we go 2 ATVs, 1 attack bike. That gets us 60 points. We can detail out the Vanguard veterans.
That's fair.
And we just go... I think we go that route. Because I want the Vanguard veterans to have Storm Shields here. Mm-hmm. So that would be... If I can go over the list, we go Primaris Chaplain as listed. Primaris Chapter Master. Honestly, Phobos Chapter Master.
Screening.
More screening. Master of Ambush. We've got 2 units of Infiltrators with Helix Gauntlets. We've got 3 units of Vanguard Veterans with Jump Packs, Lightning Claws, 1 Relic Blade, and 4 Storm Shields. Each one of them has that. Now they are really annoying to deal with. We've got a unit of 6 Aggressors in here all of a sudden with Bolt Storm Gauntlets. We've got 2 ATVs with Multi-Meltas and 1 Attack Bike with a Multi-Melta. We've got 2 units of Eliminators with Las Fusils and Bolt Carbines. We've got a unit of 6 Eradicators with 4 Heavy Melta Rifles, 2 Multi-Meltas. We've got 2 Helverins. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
and for Hans Georg saying why ATVs instead of Land Speeder Typhoon?
Tornado, I think is what he means.
Tornado. The same points. Mm-hmm. John's point is as soon as you are not in Devastator Doctrine, the ATV is actually better.
Better is, it's a side grade in my mind. It's +2 wounds, it's Primaris, but it's -1 toughness and doesn't fly.
It's toughness 5.
It's toughness 5. I honestly, as I was thinking about it, I was like, I kind of miss the fly ability of the Tornadoes. So, you could do Tornadoes instead of ATVs. They are the same points cost for your fast-moving Multi-Melta with 6 AP one-shots.
Yeah, you can do either one.
Same points cost. Honestly, if you have the Tornadoes, I probably would do the Tornadoes just because I'm thinking about it more. I'm like, boy, I really like the fly keyword. But if you only had ATVs or if you couldn't get one and you could get the other, they're very similar.
Yeah.
Access to Transhuman is cute. And then 2 extra wounds is actually pretty nice because...
They seem notably harder to kill. I think Raven...
Toughness 6 sometimes is really annoying, though.
I think in Ravenwing, I would probably want 3 of one, 3 of the other.
Yeah.
And just be really annoying.
If you take an Apothecary, which this list isn't, but if you take an Apothecary, it also gets kind of funny.
Oh, attack bikes are better, sorry, in Ravenwing, because you run out of fast attack slots, and you have an Apothecary.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is not a Ravenwing list. This is
Ravenguard.
A Ravenguard list.
Okay, I think I'm happy with that, though.
Me too. All right, we have another super chat from Matthew Bailey before we move on.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks for the answer earlier. What do you guys think of a T-Suns list with no Terminators, focus more on rubrics, characters, and more demons? Sorry. Go.
So more demons, I guess my question for Matthew is, by more demons, do you mean 500 points or a quarter of your power level, or do you mean giving up some rules to just have more demons?
I doubt he means giving up Agents of Chaos.
Probably not.
So looking at this, right, what you want to do on WTC format is you want to be fast and you want to shoot, generally. It rewards that kind of play. Now, I will say a T-Suns list with no Terminators, more rubrics, characters, and demons is a very close range list. Mm-hmm. That list runs into the problems that we mentioned earlier of it's an 18 to 12 inch range army that does not want to get in combat. And it's very fragile now. And you need to be able to have that standoff. In my mind, you need to have the standoff game of Terminators. Yeah. Terminators shooting you from 30 inches away, credibly, and you can actually put people down with them, and people don't want to just step out into the open. Because if rubrics get close, it's not... they hit hard, but they don't
They don't just kill.
They don't just kill. You need to get like a sizable amount of your army in within 12 inches or whatever to actually kill the unit. Or you need to get within 12 or 18 inches with spells in order to kill units.
For me, the biggest difference is the effective range.
Yeah.
Is that Terminators can incredibly shoot someone and not get charged back. And Rubrics just never can.
Exactly.
Because Warp Flamers are awesome. And I actually really like one big Warp Flamer squad in Thousand Suns to make use of that forward deploy stratagem that I never see using Risen Rubric for some reason.
It's expensive. It's 2 CP.
Fair enough, but I think it's still maybe worth it.
It's also before you know who goes first or second. I mean, you have Master Misinformator.
Mm-hmm. It's fair. There's definitely some arguments not to, but that seems good. I think, though, the problem is that you just have to have some damage that goes from out of charge range. Otherwise, you get charged.
Yeah, or people just post up in the center. Like, what you need to do is have the Terminators have the threat of, like, Terminators go here and just pick a bunch of stuff up and then can teleport again and pick some more stuff up. Mm-hmm. And then even that up. Honestly, I want 20 so that one can just kind of exist on the edge of your deployment zone. The other one can teleport and you just lay down crossfire. Mm-hmm. And then the other one, like, teleports somewhere else, or they stay there, and then the second brick teleports.
Imagine Thousand Suns with Crossfire, Jack.
Whew. It's mostly about you keep your bricks alive and you shred people in shooting.
Yep.
And you stay away from them until after they're crippled to a point where they can't do anything about you. Mm-hmm. Whereas the Rubrics, characters, and demons is going to get run over by most melee armies in existence. And it also isn't playing to WTC format.
Sadly
as well as you want.
Yeah, sadly agreed on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. We are Turksmash with Cult of Duplicity and Tzeentch. So we've got Ahriman with Glamour of Tzeentch. We've got Presage and Weaver of Fates, and he's on the disc. We've got an Exalted Sorcerer with Tzeentch's Firestorm, Gaze of Hate, Athenaean Scrolls. Dilettante on a disc with a Glagon's Orrery, Master Misinformator, a Kopesh, and Warp Flame Pistol. That feels like a... That's like a Tau level of war gear options.
Yeah.
Infernal Master with...
looks like a Custodes Captain.
Exactly. Temporal Manipulation, Glimpse of Eternity, Malefic Maelstrom, and Umbralefic Crystal. We've got 3 units of Rubric Marines, 2 of which have Warp Flamers and a Warp Flame Pistol. One of them has a Soul Reaper and a Plasma Pistol. We've got 10 Cultists. We've got 10 Terminators with Empiric Guidance, Rites of Coalescence, 2 Soul Reapers, 2 Missiles. We've got a Zangor Shaman with Doombolt. We have a Chaos Spawn. We have 3 Zangor Enlightened. We have Magnus the Red as a Warlord with his traits. Mm-hmm. We got a Flux Master with Bolt of Change, Infernal Gateway, Staff of Change, and 10 Blue Horrors. So, let me see if there's... you give your first thoughts, and I'm going to look up comments.
Okay. So my first thought here is that I don't like Magnus alone. Magnus gives the opponent exactly one thing that is more than 18 wounds and can be shot through obscuring terrain. And when you give people the opportunity to shoot you with no repercussions, they will often take it. Even though Magnus is a little bit of a baller. I actually like Magnus a lot in the current meta. Him by himself will sometimes just get shot and die. And I feel like you should either take a Lord of Change to go with him or not take Magnus. Once you give your opponent one thing to shoot at, no matter what, I feel like I'd rather either double up or go nothing.
Yeah, I feel like this list wants to become the list we're talking about for Matthew, where it becomes 20 Terminators.
Fair.
And then like trims down some rubrics, I think. But
would you take 20 Terminators with Magnus, or would you cut Magnus to find 440 points?
20 Terminators plus Magnus is like, it looks like an AOS list all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing in it other than that, but those are pretty nasty if you can avoid your opponent's hits and keep your units alive. Mm-hmm. But no, I don't think Magnus complements that list particularly well.
I don't think so either.
No. I think he has benefits, right? He can cast his powers, he can get them off, he'll benefit the Terminators, but I think the playstyle the Terminators want to have does not care that Magnus is in it, and the fact that you have a 420 point unit that I don't think benefits it is not worth it. Going through, Turksmash posted up quite a long list of notes, but largely he's planning to reserve protect Magnus if necessary. Fluxmaster can move 12 teleport, raise banners turn 1. The Blue Horrors, Chaos Spawn, Cultists, Anger Enlightened serve as utility pieces to hold objectives and deep strike screens. 20 Cabal points, which is quite a lot. You can use quite a few different combinations of Cabal point shenanigans. Shaman does Warp Ritual and gives Warp Sight to Magnus, so he flies around and Magnus can see through him. Near max targeted mortal wounds available with Athenaean Scroll Sorcerer, and then Big Infernal Gateways with Magnus, because you can double cast the Tzeentch powers. Then you can infiltrate Warpflame or Rubrics and redeploy them if necessary. This is intended to take banners, ritual, and then choice of behind enemy lines or a kill secondary. With all the teleporting units, it's possible to make behind enemy lines effective, and also frees up 4 Cabal points from Echoes. When Malefic Maelstrom is unnecessary, Glimpse of Eternity, and always pay the CP to gain the dice. Then heal it back from Rites or Temporal. Yeah, a lot of different combinations in here. Nick gave his thoughts, basically about you can't reserve Magnus without handing board control to your opponent in a big way.
That's true.
So, like, if you play against Guard and you reserve Magnus, you're in real trouble going forward, because you are
Magnus will not land anywhere useful.
He will land nowhere useful, and your opponent will still get to shoot him first.
Space Marines have the same problem with infiltrators. They will stop Magnus from getting to a fun spot.
Yep. They'll
just like put infiltrators behind walls and say, all right, I will just make sure Magnus lands outside of psychic range of anything interesting, and the second he lands, he gets just shot by every gun.
Yep. You just delayed. By putting him in reserves, you are playing with a 1580 point list that loses Magnus on turn 2 or 3 instead of turn 1.
So it sounds to me like you're not going to lean into my idea of take a second big boy, and you're going to try to talk me into 0 big boys.
Yeah.
Sad.
I don't...
I get it.
I need to see Nick's concept more on the table before I buy in. Of Magnus plus Fate Weaver or Magnus plus Lord of Change. I need to see it more before I really like.
It's fair.
Also, I don't think you take a Lord of Change if you don't have the Warlord trait on it, and you can't have the Warlord trait on it. So I think Magnus the Red becomes 10 more Scarab Cult Terminators or a lot of Rubrics.
I think I'd rather have the Scarabs.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, they're like 430 because I think Rites of Coalescence is 10. I mean, yeah, that's probably what I would do, honestly. Swap Magnus, we got to find 10 points, and then I want to just fill out the Zangor Enlightened.
If we swapped Magnus to a Scarab Cult Terminator, we're 20 points short?
I think 10 points short, because they have a points upgrade on them.
Got it. Which one is Empiric? Or...
Empiric Guidance is the plus range.
Okay.
Rites of Coalescence is he heals a model to full every turn.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe we could give one of the... if we did a second Scarab Cult Terminator unit, we could do the action shoot one, right? I believe that exists.
It does, yes.
Which plays into the banners theme, because you can just teleport them to an objective, raise the banners, start shooting immediately if necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. You can teleport there, raise banners, start charge shooting, which is nice, because you want to get a points edge on your opponent. We have the Zangor Shaman to do ritual, and you can dump points into just making sure that goes off. I think we're going to go a little bare bones on the Cabal points here. Like, I don't think we're looking to have 20. I think we're looking to have, like, 16, 15, 14, and just know the things we want to do every turn. Yeah. Rather than trying to get everything, which works, but pigeonholes you somewhat.
Could we honestly, could we cut a Rubric Marine squad to just have, like, 2 more Zangor Enlightened squads?
That's what I want to do.
Yeah, just have a couple more units to play with, because Rubrics are obviously semi-durable and provide, 2 Kabbalistic focus points and some psychic sense and shooting. But I just want a little more stuff.
Yeah, I think this Exalted Sorcerer is also a little on the expensive side. Right, Rahadi, he's Dilettante for a free, for a relic, so he gets a Glagan's Orrery, which I don't think this list needs.
Is that the ignore cover? Or
no, that's ignore. You target a unit, and then you ignore, like, damage modifiers against it, and you ignore, like, I think hit and wound modifiers.
Does it ignore feeling points? Is it like a ignore phase cap thing?
No, it's not an ignore phase cap.
Got it.
It's not. I think you ignore modifiers to hit, wound, and damage rolls. Which is fine.
It's not super exciting.
It's not great. The Kopesh is free. The
Flame Pistol, I think, is free.
And the Warp Flame Pistol, I think. Some of this costs points. I know that.
Maybe they just always get the list of free.
No, they get a Warp Flame Pistol for free. They've gotten a lot of free stuff now. So you can't really cut too many points off it. Armon, you can't really... I don't know if Armon needs a disc. He literally sits and just cast powers at your dudes.
Yeah.
Like, I think he can lose his disc and it's fine.
Yeah, and you could honestly turn that into an extra solo spawn or something. Just have, again, one more random unit.
Yeah, it's 20 points to give him a disc. So you can just not have that. Because I want is like 3 squads of Zangor Enlightened. And I kind of want the Disc Herald. Or not the Disc Herald. We have the Disc Herald. The Chariot Herald.
Oh, to promote him. Okay, how many points is that?
160. 155 if you just take +1 to cast.
That's hard to find. Not impossible.
Let's go through the list.
Okay.
Points-wise. So we have... Let's take Armon off his disc because he's a buff piece. Mm-hmm. He's not bad on the disc. Like, he can transition into being not a buff piece. Right, you switch one of his powers for, like, Doom Bolt, and then you cast that, Smite,
Yeah.
and then
if you're
you cast a
protecting the
different
Exalted
power.
Sorcerer, you probably don't need that roll.
Yeah. And you... Yeah, I mean, you can put the disc back on if we have the points, but, yeah. We'll see if we do. 155 and 90 seems strong. I want to keep 2 squads of Rubrics, and the Warflamer one's at that.
Yep.
So 117 plus 117 plus the Cultists seem good, so plus 50.
Yep.
Plus 440 plus 430. I'll find out how much that upgrade is. Zangor Shaman.
Yep.
3 squads of Enlightened.
Love it.
Then we've got Blue Horrors.
Mm-hmm.
And then we end up with 149 points left.
Okay, and we haven't added the solo spawn in yet, right?
True. We don't have any spawn left.
So, real quick, just it's 160 for the ideal.
With the one with the staff, which you really don't need in this list.
Because, like, if we just replace... So, just real quick, just put it in. Just, theoretically, 160. If we cut the cultists and put 2 solo spawn in, what would that look like?
We would be 3 points over.
Which could just be the 5-point upgrade off the Flexmaster.
Yes. So then he
Is that... So, the reason to take that is basically he's a little bit tougher, has a little bit of combat, and he gets +1 to cast?
It's almost all the +1 to cast. You want Bolt of Change and Infernal Gateway to go off. They're brutal.
Okay.
Like, those powers are nasty when they go off.
Yeah, that's fair. At that point, though, I really want that Scarab Cult Terminator unit to be able to action and shoot because we have cut the cultists, and we're starting to run a tad bit low on infantry.
Well, the Enlightened can all do actions. The Spawn can do actions.
But the Enlightened can't do banners, right? They're not infantry?
Do you need to be infantry to do banners?
Banners has to be infantry.
Got it. Yes, then we are running a wee bit low on it.
Yeah. How much... Let's just find out how much the upgrade is for these Scarab Cult Terminators to be able to... Because, like, maybe we could just replace Rites of Coalescence with it.
Yeah, let me find out. So we've got Scarab Cult Terminators, Terminator with the Sergeant. We got Ardent Automata, which is 15, Rites of Coalescence, which is 10, and Protege, which is 5. Protege lets them know an extra power, which is quite good just to have on a rubric squad.
Generically useful, yeah.
I believe Ardent Automata is
15 point.
15
that
point
sounds
one.
right.
It's expensive.
15 though is not a lot for what you get there. I would
Ardent Automata. Sorry, Arcane Automata is auto pass morale. Ardent Automata is when they're performing an action, they can shoot and pass the action.
I would cut a spawn just for that, personally.
Yeah. Done.
And then you have 5 points left to either throw the gun on the Flexmaster or buy the no and extra power for a rubric squad.
I think I'd buy the no and extra power.
Sure.
So let's look very quickly at the Exalted Sorcerer and what he's looking to do here. Because I don't think this guy is as efficient as you want. So what I want is I want to have a guy who deals damage, and I want to have a guy who buffs. So the Armon here is the guy who buffs.
Yep, because you have to pass those, and he likes free rolls.
Yeah, now in my personal list, I make Armon my damage dealer.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah, and I put him on a disc because in my mind, I think you have to pass the damaging powers.
Oh, I see it as you have to pass the defense.
I think it's less important you pass the defense because it's like 3 defensive mechanics. And if you get 2 of them up on the unit, it's probably fine.
Okay.
Whereas I think the damage, you just need to output as much damage as possible, get people off of you. But if you want to go this package, I mean, you can put the disc back on Armon, and he can turn into like a secondary guy for 1 CP. That would be just cutting the Chaos Spawn. And honestly, I can kind of see cutting the second Chaos Spawn.
Yeah, fair.
And putting the disc back on him. Because if the Exalted Sorcerer gets killed, what you want to do is you spend 1 CP to swap one of his powers for Doom Bolt. And then you cast Doom Bolt, Smite, and then you double cast his demon power.
Fair.
And then
So he becomes Mortal Wound Output.
so he turns into Mortal Wound Output guy. So let's look at the Exalted Sorcerer. The Exalted Sorcerer casts 2 powers. And that's it. So what we want to do is I want to give him not Dilettante. I want to give him Rahati.
And
Rahati lets him cast an extra power.
Okay, fair enough. That sounds way good.
Yeah, no, it's what I give mine.
How many more points or less than Dilettante?
10 less.
10 less.
10 less.
I would pay not 10 points for that.
Yeah. So I want Rahati on the Exalted Sorcerer, and he is going to be kitted to be Mortal Wound Man. I don't love Tzeentch's Firestorm personally. I don't think it's...
Is that the 9 dice 6s?
Yeah, 9 dice 6s, but if you make a natural 9 up, it's 9 dice 5s. It's a lot of dice to jump through it's a lot of hoops to jump through for a fine Mortal Wound power.
Yeah.
Not amazing, fine, because you have to take a 1 CP Athenaean Scrolls in order to do it.
Try and make it good.
When this list really, really wants... It has Umberlefic Crystal, but it also really, really wants having CP. To have CP. I'm fine leaving Firestorm in. Gaze of Hate is not getting cast here. I'm sorry. It is like the 5th tier Mortal Wound Output power. What I want is for the Exalted Sorcerer to cast 3 powers every time. And one of those is Doombolt, because Doombolt is just nuts. It goes off, you know for a fact you're doing mortal wounds, so you can drop the extra D3 on it and go.
And then maybe Smite?
And then, honestly, you don't need Smite.
No, not Smite, okay.
Smite is going off elsewhere on other people. This guy's dropping the mortal wounds on people. So if you want, you can go Firestorm, you can go Doombolt, and you can use your third cast to double cast a Tzeentch power.
Just to clarify for me, what was the third spell you said? So obviously Doombolt, then Infernal Gateway. What was the other one?
Firestorm.
What is that?
It can be the 9 dice every 5 up.
Oh, okay, cool.
So honestly, what you do is you go, if you want to go Athenaean Scrolls Firestorm, I think you can. I think you put Master Misinformer on the Infernal Master, and you take Arrogance of Eons, because now Magnus isn't taking it. Arrogance of Eons lets you use 2 Kabbalist rituals on the same guy, and he also rerolls denies, which is sweet.
Oh, that is pretty useful, yeah.
Because I want to be doing the plus D3 mortal wounds and the... I want to be using some combination of 2.
Yeah.
Double casting a Tzeentch power just happens. And then after that, maybe you want to use someone else's line of sight. Maybe you want to staple D3 mortal wounds onto it. Maybe you want to make sure it passes when you fail it. Things like that.
Yeah, all very useful.
Yes. So I think this guy is kitted up to not quite deliver the psychic phase beats, and I want to do that.
Got it. I guess that makes sense because he had a Magnus there to do it.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. But now he doesn't.
Now he doesn't. And Magnus is sweet, but I don't think he's that great right now. At that point, I think the Exalted Sorcerer wants it. His psychic rotation is going to be Doombolt. Don't love Firestorm, but you can do Firestorm. Doombolt, Firestorm, and then you can keep Gaze of Hate, I guess, because it doesn't matter, you're not casting it, and then you just go, you double cast the Tzeentch power.
Fair enough. Okay.
And like if you double Bolt of Change some armies, they just collapse on the spot. It's the 9 days every 5 ups of Mortal Wound, and every slain model is another Mortal Wound up to 3.
Yeah.
You target demons with that, and they cry.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, so that's probably the direction I would take. So end of the day, this is the list. We've got Armon with all the buffing powers and a disc. We've got an Exalted Sorcerer with Rahati, Tzeentch's Firestorm, Gaze of Hate, Athenaean Scrolls. I don't think this list wants a Glagon's Orrery, because you need to see them in the
command phase.
In the command phase, this guy's not a buffer. This guy shoots mortal wounds at people. You take Athenaean Scrolls, you take Rahati, you take a disc, you take Master Misinformator, or no, you take Arrogance of Eons, put Master Misinformator on the Infernal Master, you take the Kopesh and the Warflame Pistol. So, going over again, Firestorm, Gaze of Hate, Athenaean Scrolls, Rahati, disc, Arrogance of Eons, Kopesh, Warflame Pistol. We've got an Infernal Master with Master Misinformator and Umberlefic Crystal, otherwise the same as kitted out. 2 units of Rubric Marines with Warp Flamers and Warflame Pistol. We've got 2 squads of 10 Scarab Occult Terminators with Rites of Coalescence on one and Ardent Automata on the other. We've got a Zangor Shaman. We've got 3x3 Zangor Enlightened. We have 10 Blue Horrors, and we have a Fate Skimmer. With just the +1 to cast, no staff. That list puts out mortal wounds like no other.
Yeah. That is a lot of mortal
A lot
wounds.
of mortal wounds.
Spooky amount.
And a lot of shooting, too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's... It's mostly a shooting, stay away-y kind of list, picking away at the edges until eventually your opponent's crippled enough that you go in.
A good mortal wound bomb if people push on you, though.
Exactly.
Okay, I like it.
And also you can double move the Scarab Cult Terminators and then just charge people. And, like, people... In a practice game, I killed Scarbrand with them. Just charged his behind.
Oh, Scarbrand.
Yeah, just +1 to wound and just finished him off. He was at like 10 wounds, just killed him.
Oh, that's sad. All right. Well, looks like we did have one super chat before we close it out here.
Yep. We've got Red Rum with a €5 super chat.
Woo, thank you.
What kind of Ultramarine list would you recommend for an Alpine GT terrain event similar to WTC but more open?
If it's similar to WTC, So my opinion on Ultramarines right now is that you can either do budget Iron Hands, where it's like, oh no, Mom, we have Iron Hands at home. It's Guilliman with Ultramarines. And that's pretty good because you get access to redeploy, but you just have slightly less violence than an Iron Hands list. Or you can do Emperor Spears. And Emperor Spears is what I know and love. And that still includes Guilliman, because Emperor Spears is a White Dwarf successor chapter that auto takes Whirlwind of Rage and...
Ultramarine successor, you mean?
Yeah.
You said White Scars, I think.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yep. So it's an Ultramarine successor.
Maybe I'm
that has Whirlwind of Rage and Hungry for Battle, which is the +1 advance and charge. It basically has them in so many words. And that stacks with Guilliman's aura of +1 advance and charge for Imperium. So they become +2 advance, +2 charge. You don't get to advance and charge, but you do get the absolutely wonderful ability to just charge +2. And also when you're not charging and shooting, you go very fast because you're advancing +2. I really like building a melee army-ish with some shooting elements in that, where I think you can take 2 infiltrator squads, have 2 gladiators, take 12 aggressors, 10 Vanguard veterans, and then fit in some, just like maybe 1 unit of eradicators along with a chaplain, because the chaplain doesn't have to take the +2 to charge anymore, because you already have it. You can instead take +1 to wound in either shooting or combat, your choice, and the 5 at Film and Pain against mortals. And I also really like a Justiciar because you get a 6-inch heroic intervention and fight first warlord trait and Emperor Spears. And then you give that guy the relic that's once a game aura of +1 attack. So you get a not as shooty as could be, but still some amount of guns on an Ultramarine list with Guilliman, so you already have some inherent rerolls. And then you have a lot more combat than people expect. And Ultramarines are pretty good at playing the mission. If it's a passive game, you've got a lot of points still in that list for a bunch of chaff units like random solo land speeders and scouts and things like that. And so you can make a pretty good mission playing list that is shockingly punchy up close, but shoots harder than the conventional combat chapters.
Yeah, you can do that. I think that might be better for like different terrain formats, but I think for WTC but more open, I think that's where you want to go guns.
I guess how much more open is it? You could always just go all guns.
Yeah, take Master Artisans and Whirlwind of Rage. Take like 3.
Old reliable.
Yep, take 3 Invictor Warsuits. Take some Gladiator Reapers.
You're never going to tell me... I'm never going to tell you that's bad.
Yeah. And then you just take a Devastator Doctrine list that takes Codex Warfare and stays in Dev Doctrine and ignores anything else.
You've got tons of options. Yeah, I think Ultramarines are still really good. Whirlwind of Rage is the common thread. Just your choice, and if you want Emperor Spears and go a little more combat heavy, or Master Artisans and go mostly shooty with some counterpunch.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's us for today.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. And as always, make sure you check out our website. On theartofwar40k.com, you can get access to the Worm. And right now, you can get a free 3-day trial if you want to check out the Worm. If you've been watching our content on YouTube and you've always thought about checking out the Worm, now is the best time to do it. So make sure you get in there. And you can see top-level coaches like myself, Jack, Richard, Nick, and many, many more teaching you everything you need to know about the game Warhammer.
All right. Bye-bye.